Portland International Raceway in the rain. That's what the drivers of CART face today. The technology matters very little. It's all up to them. Races into the Pacific Northwest, and we're about to find out who will climb the mountain. Live from Portland International Raceway, ESPN Speed World is ready to present the CART FedEx Championship Series. Today, it's the Portland 200, and they will race in the rain. Hi and welcome, I'm Paul Page. Yes, they have already declared it a wet start, but it's just a light drizzle that falls here. What does that do? Well, first of all, for the drivers, it kind of evens everything out. Last time they raced in the rain was in Vancouver, 1999. Won by Juan Montoya. Second place was Patrick Carpentier. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
A lot of stories to watch today, including the Penske team that's been so strong on the temporary street circuits thus far this year. But the field is split today as far as this team is concerned. Castro Neves with the momentum of his win a week ago at Belle Isle starts in the second row. His teammate DeFerrin, the modern-day king of Portland, with 2 wins in 2 seconds in recent years, is way back in 15th. And when Gilles saw that it was going to be a wet start today, he was literally jumping up and down with absolute glee. Watch him try to move forward as we go to Jan Deacons.
Gary, what a turnaround weekend for Max Pappas it has been. In the first practice session, he was dead last. The team worked on the setup and propelled him all the way to his second career pole position. But remember, that setup was devised under dry conditions. Now with these conditions, you can take that setup sheet and just throw it out the window. One big advantage, Max Pappas will have a nice clear view into turn number 1. Parker?
To be successful today, a driver will need 3 things. First of all, a good car, great car control, but most importantly, a lot of luck. Their first challenge, making it through the first corner intact.
All right, so we'll take a look at the Kawasaki starting grid now as they work around, ready to begin the pace lap here. The pole is Max Pappas, the second of his career. Top 3 positions, interestingly enough, Ford, Toyota, Honda. For Scott Dixon, 4th is the best start that he has ever had, but when you look down through the remainder of the field, here's a couple of things to note. Big names, DeFerrin, Andretti, well down. 22nd starting position, points leader Kenny Breck, and former champion here and champion in the series, Alex Zanardi, will start last, and he has never done that before. So we look at the race analysis for you. 1.9 miles around, 98 laps is the distance, change from last year. Parker, some of the keys.
Well, they have to go 33 laps. They have to go 33 laps in order to make it a 2-stop race. We've spoken to a couple of teams who are going to try to do it in 1 stop.
All right, we're going to have a wet start. It's been declared that. It's an official declaration. It's in the rule book. Parker, what does it mean?
Well, it means that they can start on wets, which is what everyone's done, but it does give the option for some drivers to try to start on dries. They won't do that, of course, today. The entire field currently on wet weather tires.
Why bother declare it at all then?
Well, because the problem is they want to make sure that you've got the option. The rule book says that you have to start the entire field on 1 set of tires. This gives people the option to switch as necessary according to conditions.
Oh, and look at this. On the pace lap, Gilles DeFerrin, and that looks like damage to the front wing, in fact, all the way across.
The front wing there, Jill?
Yeah, it looks like they've gotten that wing good.
Yeah, you can see he took off both the right side end plate and severely damaged the left side end plate. They'll have to replace the wing.
Come on in, we'll change it. Come on in. Come on in.
We also don't know what other damage has been done to the under tray or other parts of the car.
Gilles DeFerrin has had a perfectly horrible weekend. He's been off probably more times this weekend than in his entire career in the series. And you begin to wonder how much of that is being driven by desperation.
Well, the crew is standing by with a spare nose wing if he can get back to the pits. But, of course, he's still going to lose a tremendous amount of time.
Now, the only thing that he really has working for him, that with the wet course, the lap times won't be quite as fast, and he may have a better opportunity to catch up, but of course it makes it difficult to catch up. Rolling toward the green flag now. Starter has him, front row well aligned. Here we go. Look at that spray. Ahead is that most dangerous first turn. Leaders are through. Rest of the field bottles up, one car off, sliding backwards. And Kenny Brick gets in trouble too.
The points leader all the way back in 22nd spot now, trying to find a place to reverse direction.
And whoever that was that went around backwards might have been one of the cool cars, might have been Shinji Nakano. We'll try to find out for you. Obviously got it going as well. Kenny Brick came through the cut-through in the festival curves there and resumed his chase. Look at Cristiano D'Amata as he almost loses it coming off of that corner. Gary?
Penske team at work for Gilles Farron now. They've got the old and damaged nose off. The new one is coming into place. They'll be bolting it down momentarily, but the key, of course, is to get it done before the field comes around so he doesn't lose a lap. He's off the jacks. He's going. Terrific job by the Penske team.
And the full course caution, I'm going to guess, is going to come out on this. That's Mimo Gidley right there in his first run.
Yellow, Chris.
It's Zanardi, and it also looked like Max Wilson at the back there. A little hard to tell. Definitely Zanardi and Gidley.
And that would be back in the back of the field. Gidley replacing Nicholas Manassi, and Tony Kanaan involved as well. Very first lap. Crossed yellow flags out at the start-finish line. We do have a full course caution.
We'll take a look and see what we can do.
Alex Zanardi climbing out. Gidley still in the car, but looking around.
You can see Kanaan got off on the outside. Jourdain's through. Gidley tries to go down the right side as Zanardi goes down the left side, coming onto the back straightaway.
From Mimo Gidley's in-car.
So you can see Kanaan off the left side there. He says, all right, I'll go by this way. And as Zanardi hits the other direction, he clips the back of Kanaan. Takes all three of them out in one shot.
Also off course is Elio Castroneves. And this one comes under the caution. That give you some idea how slick it is out there?
Well, that's the big problem here. You've got to have a lot of luck. You have to have some patience and discretion. As we saw in the Indy Light support race, almost every car in the series went off with the exception of one. We've seen most of the cars in this series go off on the first lap. You can see Elio just got a little bit wide, a little bit too fast, and slides off the outside.
Yeah, but he also got a little bit of barrier. Hopefully that didn't damage the car too much. He bounced kind of back off of it. It didn't look like all that much of a hit. Alex Zanardi stands with one of the SCCA course workers. A couple hundred of them helping out here this weekend. Tony Kanaan made it back to the pits. Appears to be okay. He also had a big off in the morning practice as well. Just plowed right into one of those sand traps. Unfortunately, he was okay there. So it's kind of stuttering to a start in Portland.
Try all you want, but nothing can replace the rush you get from a Kawasaki Ninja.
Somebody's about to ride off with a great deal on a Kawasaki. What are you going to do on your summer vacation?
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
Remember the A-Team? Now there was an odd bunch of individuals. They always had some cockamamie scheme to get out of a jam. It never sounded like it would work, but of course it always did. Week after week, same time, same channel. Those were my boys. The Ford F-150 Super Cruise. Built Ford tough.
Love playing around with stuff? Then get into Best Buy, where you can play around as long as you'd like. Actually, that's half the fun. Best Buy. Go ahead, turn on the fun.
Portland 200 on ESPN Speed World is brought to you by FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series. And by Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. Well, welcome back to Portland. I'm Paul Page with Parker Johnstone. Jan Bikus and Gary Gerald are in somewhat damp pits right now. The field is under a full course caution circulating behind the pace car. Couple different reasons for this full course caution. We'll start with this one.
Tony Kanaan gets off the outside at turn 7, coming onto the back straightaway. Mimo Gidley will enter on the right side, just starts to get through, makes contact there. Zanardi chooses left. He gets hit as Kanaan's pushed back to the left side. Gidley didn't quite shoot the gap correctly. Zanardi trying to take advantage of both drivers, gets caught up in the accident.
Well, look here, did Kanaan come over too far?
Well, I think he was trying to get off the racing line there, Paul, because the normal line is right where Zanardi exited. And as a result, trying to get 3 cars where only 2 can pass just didn't work.
So,
not a good debut for Mimo Gidley.
In incidents so far, Zanardi, Gidley, Kanaan. And Tony Kanaan, Jan, what's his story?
Well, let's find out. You just had a chance to see the replay yourself. Looked like it all started when you got off course.
Yeah, I mean, I got off course and I came back pretty slow, and all of a sudden Gidley hit me pretty hard, and I'm very disappointed. We had a tough weekend. I'm coming from a tough one last week, and you know, Alex is out as well, and I feel really bad right now, but in these conditions, it's just, you can't see anything, and no, I went off a little bit, and then when I came back, Mimo hit me big time, so let's go for Cleveland now, you know.
All right, well, thankfully you're okay. Thanks. Gary?
Helio Castroneves has come in. They have changed a set of rain tires. Rick Reineman now waves Castroneves back onto the track. He is down a lap. His teammate, Gilles de Ferran, was in just a lap in front of him to top off the fuel. We also saw Kenny Bracken and others on pit road.
So at the front of the field as they circulate under full course caution is Pappas. Second place is this man, Cristiano D'Amata. Now racing in the rain hands the control totally to the driver, but he needs luck as a passenger.
You really have to try to see where you're going, because sometimes you're just going, you see the 2 lines here at the edge of the racetrack, you're like, whoa, where's the corner now? You try to put yourself in the middle of 2 white lines. It's not at 200 miles an hour or 180 miles an hour. It's not a good feeling when you're doing that.
Driving in the rain is a fantastic sensation. You know, you slide in the car, much steeper angles that you do in the dry. You have to be super delicate with the throttle and the brake and all that. It's really like driving on ice.
So that's how a couple of them take a look at it. Still under the caution on that start. Scott Dixon made a pretty good move going into 3rd, Franchitti to 4th, but the best move seemed to be Paul Tracy. Started 13th. Maybe you saw him down running for the inside of the corner on the start, but he started 13th, now sits in 6th. Max Wilson started 19th and is now 15th. And a guy like Wilson may be one that benefits the most from the rain.
I would certainly think so, because with the Arsenal Blair team, they're a small team. They don't have a wind tunnel program. They don't have a shaker table program. Max showed great speed on Friday, had some problems with the primary car going into qualifying. This is all about the driver, a lot less about technology.
And consider this, 5th race since his return, that the series, that Alex Zanardi has finished 20th or worse. Gary Gerald.
Interesting, you guys were talking early on about the problems created by the rain and the visibility on the track. Here's a radio conversation from Oriol Servia, who said, I can't see an inch in front of my nose. I'm trying to follow the car in front. Man, that's got to be tough.
Well, all of the cars in the rain, they're ordered to turn on taillights, and they're fairly sophisticated taillights, an array of LEDs that is pretty bright. And sometimes that's about all you see.
And sometimes you can't even see that, Paul. I was in this race in '97 when it was raining so hard. You come onto the pit straight, you're up to 185 miles an hour. The only thing I could get as a reference was the end of the pit wall on the pit out. And I knew at that point, about 2 beats later, I'd have to lift and put on the brakes. And I couldn't see anything until I turned into the corner. And that's the kind of driving these guys are doing if you're not Max Pappas.
Oriol Servia is going to receive a black flag for passing before the start itself. Jan Bikas, Max Pappas grabbed the lead. He's there now under the yellow.
Check with the team on the type of setup he's running, and they said that they are running kind of a midway setup. Half dry, half wet. That seems to be the favorite setup for most of the teams. A few people gamble. It'll be interesting to see which gamble pays off today if it does dry.
The faster they go on a dry surface, generally the stiffer the car is. As the car needs more mechanical grip and needs to roll, the softer it is. So what Jan's alluding to is that they found some sort of compromise. The car won't be great in either conditions, but give Max the opportunity to try to optimize this ever-changing track condition.
And you can see in the way they bunch up every time they come off of the carousel, the anticipation of the green. Nobody wants to get left behind. Here we go. We race again.
Here comes Cristiano D'Amato looking down the inside.
And you can see how difficult it must be in the back. Dixon, then Franchitti into the corner. Then Roberto Moreno. Look at Paul Tracy trying to work on Moreno. He goes to the outside. That's Carpentier and Junqueira just behind that battle.
Scott Dixon doing tank slappers coming out of the festival curves.
Tora Takagi off course. Now, will this actually bring out a yellow? Probably not. I think they could get him clear without having to slow the field for the entire course. Now we have full course Yano, because course yellow,
Easy
because
for you to
Shinji
say.
Nakano has spun, sitting crossways in the circuit. Pace car already has its lights on and ready to pick up the field. First of all, what happened to Tora Takagi? We have that for you.
Well, you can see him off there in the festival curves as they entered. You can see him here. Watch what happens now. He makes contact. Quick snap spin after making contact, it looks like, with one of the team green cars there. It was a little hard to see. And you can see as a result there, now we'll watch from onboard, you can see how bad the visibility is. He's on the brakes, turns in, gets really wide now, puts him out of position for the left-hander, comes back in, hits Michael Andretti. One of the team green cars kills the motor, doesn't get the clutch in soon enough. Now watch, yep, there you have it.
And right at the end of that was when Shinji also got it loose and went sliding in the same area. It didn't look like it was a hard enough hit with Michael to be any concern to Michael's crew.
Well, he just got way offline on the way in. Michael was on the traditional line. Michael was coming back into the apex, and Tora just didn't leave any room for the two of them to get there. Michael was definitely in the right place, and Tora just got a little too much speed offline and made contact.
Helio Castroneves topping off the fuel. You talk about strategy. Now in the rain, there's usually enough gameplay in here in a regular run, but now with the rain, it's going to be a lot easier. Replay of how the starters saw it when they came toward the green flag. And Pappas continues to lead under yellow.
Because you need some private time to think. Because nobody works harder. Because they count on you for the tough decisions. Because big ideas need focus. Because when you can be yourself, you achieve more. Because you deserve it. The Hotels of Beverly Hills.
You spent the first 9 months of your life warm, safe, and surrounded by water. Ready to experience déjà vu?
...2,131 consecutive games for Cal Ripken. What a celebration.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Pito. As Cal Ripken Jr. announced his retirement this week, effective at the end of the season, ESPN Classic is proud to bring you the pinnacle of Ripken's career, September 6, 1995, as he played his 2,131st consecutive game, surpassing Lou Gehrig. See the event and celebration of a lifetime Sunday night on ESPN Classic.
Down the right field line on a hair. He's got another one.
Barry Bonds is chasing history.
I don't want Mark McGwire's home run. I want his ring.
But in doing so, can he escape his past?
What is the definition of arrogance? To me, it'd be somebody with lack of confidence.
Catch the exclusive interview with Barry Bonds Sunday night on SportsCenter following the Giants and the Cardinals.
1998. 2001.
This one is on its way.
Is 70 safe?
This one is gone. He's got another one.
This Sunday, Giants versus Cardinals.
Well, Barry Bonds hit one last night, bringing his Busch Stadium career total to 10 homers. Watch this truly amazing story tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Well, back at Portland International Raceway, the field moving very slowly once again as they try to get the track cleared as quickly as they can. Not an easy job when you have cars off all over the place. Now, we mentioned Shinji Nakano, which was part of the two-car melee that created this full course caution. Here's what happened to him.
Coming down at the end of the pit straight, down to second gear, turns in, boom, taps Kenny Breck and does a little half spin to the right and kills the engine.
Now, the Penske team brought both of their cars in one case, Helio Castroneves, not once but twice, to top off fuel just before we're ready to go green. Kenny Breck also came in, topped them off. Now they come off of that final turn. Green flag waves, here we go.
Look at Cristiano D'Amata trying to set Max Pappas up, but look at the straight line speed difference there. Oh, D'Amata.
D'Amata takes the lead, but can he hold it? No, he has to run through the cut-through. Look at Tracy. Tracy comes to the inside. Franchitti was making an outside move, and D'Amata, he can't improve his position, but he can go back to it.
Perfect job. You just as long as you did advance.
Well, the rule says you can't pick up time or position, so he put himself right back where he was on the way in.
But it did give a little breathing room to Max Pappas, the leader of the run. Now Tracy and Franchitti, who had a terrible time trying to qualify for this, are up running at the front. You're right there behind Scott Dixon. They both moved to the outside. Michael Andretti had a quick spin in one, but he did continue on. Adrian Fernandez has an off-course excursion. Field keeps under green. And now it goes to full course caution once again. Pits are closed. You're looking down the view that Jim Swintel, the starter, has. The white flag with the red cross means that there's a vehicle on the course ahead of you. And look there inside the wheels of Cristiano D'Amata's car. You've seen it a couple times. That's an advertisement. It had nothing to do with hot brakes or anything. Adrian Fernandez says, oh, get me out of here. Now let's go back and look at the restart, Parker.
Cristiano D'Amata had a good run coming off the final corner. He tries to draft up behind Max. Max protects the inside line, goes, whoa, he's never going to make that corner. I'll just turn in behind him. Cristiano goes down the cutoff. You can't improve time or position, so Cristiano waits for Max, slots in back behind him. No penalty there. Max Wilson taking a shortcut through the gravel trap, keeps it running. You see Michael Andretti with a quick 360.
Look from overhead.
Watch Max
Cristiano
Wilson
cutting through. There goes Wilson into the gravel pit.
Watch Mikey here.
Michael Andretti loses it.
On throttle on the way out.
On the way, keeps going.
Oh, got some contact there on the right front.
Jan Beekes, Michael okay with that?
Yeah, the initial contact with Tora Takagi, I checked with the team, and Kim Green had called in, and they had, at least what they could do in observing the car was they felt it just had some bodywork damage and that there wasn't anything significant, certainly in these conditions, to affect Michael. Now, of course, with what has happened, the team may bring Michael Andretti in to fill up with fuel like we've seen for some of the others, the Penske team and Kenny Breck, as soon as the pits are open.
Well, CART's Simple Green safety team may have more laps on the course already than the entire field put together. They're back under that full course caution, and it'll be a moment or two until they actually can get everybody back to station and get ready to race. So, oh, a lot of smoke coming out of the back of Baxter.
We've got TP on the wingtips.
Only Nextel digital cellular phones have Direct Connect.
Static cling coming at you, 12 o'clock.
A digital two-way radio feature for instant contact.
Code red, there's snow on the mountains. I repeat, snow on the mountain.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck, sir.
So you can solve problems with the push of a button.
Gentlemen, glad to meet you.
At least the ones you're aware of. Nextel Direct Connect, the digital two-way radio feature that lets you get right through.
If your driveway looks worn, don't replace it. Resurface it. Quikrete Concrete Resurfacer. The easy way to make old concrete look like new.
From the quarter mile at St. Louis to the third turn at Talladega to the pits of Laguna Seca. Wherever innovation is the margin between win and lose, the pros reach for the same tools you do. Craftsman, the official tools of CART, NHRA, and NASCAR.
Under caution, and while we were away from the Portland 200, the CART FedEx Championship Series, Cristiano D'Amata ran up and tapped Max Pappas. So he sits by the edge of the course now. Dixon is up to second place. Here it is, Parker.
Yeah, watch Cristiano D'Amata. The second car on your screen starts to accelerate. Max is slowing down. Bonk. Not quite a love tap, and then he gets high-centered on the edge of the track.
Okay, explain it. he was your student. I want to hear it.
Not during that incident, he wasn't.
Well, is it possible he's looking down, checking the...
Well, what he was doing is trying to spin the rear tires to get some heat in the rear tires. Max was obviously putting some heat in his brakes, and they just met at the wrong time.
Everything here is working to the advantage of the leader, Max Pappas. Jan?
Yes, in fact, I just spoke with the team, and initially they were not even aware that he had had contact. I said, "You okay?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "You know, you got hit from behind from D'Amata." They go, "Really?" So they called in to Max and said, "Max, you get hit by him?" He said, "Oh, yeah, but everything's cool here."
Max has been in a great mood all weekend, as he should be, taking the second pole of his career, and obviously doing so well here now. But he was, we expected almost more excitement out of him when he got the pole. I guess Max lives at the top of his emotion anyway all of the time.
Well, what a difference a week makes, Paul. Last week at Detroit, he qualified 24th. His teammate hasn't qualified outside of the top 10 this year. Max hasn't qualified in the top 10, and here they've reversed positions. Kenny starting back in 22nd. Max nearly breaking the track record, having a great run. Max just saying, it's always been me. I've always had it. It's just a matter of getting the relationship right with he and John Dick. It's a new management team at Team Rahal for this car, a new chassis this year, and I think they finally have found the sweet spot.
All right. Here is Cristiano D'Amata on the pit road. Gary Gerald, you're waiting for him. What are they going to do?
Kenny Seawick up on the wall. I think it's going to be simply a case of survey the car and top it off with fuel. Everybody looking at every corner, looking underneath. Fuel going in. Cristiano nods to something on the radio and leaves.
All right, so obviously they didn't find anything, but it does drop Cristiano D'Amata from second to 19th. So with the rain here, when it rains, drivers seem to remember Portland the most.
The only thing I can remember is Portland, I think 2-3 years ago. It was so wet. And the only thing I remember to see was a big screen on the right side, which was where the people, so people can see the race. And that big screen was basically one of my marks to brake. I could not see anything else but that.
Racing the rain is when you rely a lot on your ears, believe it or not, because since you can't see, you follow the guy ahead of you or traffic or whatever, and once he backs off, you back off too. So it's a blind, wild ride.
course, that was Mauricio Guzman. Here he is, and as he comes down the front straightaway, you can actually see that screen that he's talking about, Parker.
Right down here, Paul. Now, usually what the drivers are looking for as they come down into the corner are the braking reference markers. They see the end of the pit wall on the right side disappear. Then what they're looking for is that big screen TV. Now, these braking markers up on the wall that are going by, you can't see those in the spray. Your entire sense of reference changes. Once they turn into the corner, you get a sense of where you are, but oftentimes it's too late.
Well, of course, they're running under full course caution, and we're wiping off the visor for them in front of the camera pretty constantly here, and the buildup is still fairly extreme.
Well, in the movie Driven, they actually had some great shots giving the fans a little bit of an idea of what it's like to drive in the rain. Basically, I've heard great descriptions of being behind semis, etc. You basically can't see anything that's directly in front of you unless you're Max Pappas. That's why it's so great to qualify on the pole. It's one of the advantages, especially in the rain.
Right there, you got a look, too, as we look down from the Honda Helicam, looking down on the field. You got to look, too, on how when that accordion effect takes place, the leader slows down a little bit and everybody kind of bunches up, not unlike on the freeway. And that's the kind of thing that can catch you out like it may have with Cristiano Di Maio.
And what these drivers are doing as they get ready to go back to green is that they're actually spinning the rear tires, trying to put some heat in them. They're left foot braking a lot, doing some acceleration and deceleration runs, as well as moving side to side. So they're trying to get the brakes hot, the rear tires hot, the front tires hot. And if your timing is off, especially in such a low adhesion condition like we have here, well, if you're not paying close attention, the guy in front of you can slow down so quickly while you're accelerating, you can have that accordion problem and run into the driver in front of you.
Pace car has begun to pick up the pace. Max Pappas is the leader, leading from the pole. But, of course, we've been punctuated with cautions throughout. He's completed 12 laps, working on his 13th and hoping for a green flag and a clear green flag when they come around. Keep an eye on the two Team Green cars, third and fourth. As they come to the flag, here we go again.
Tracy making a move on Franchitti.
And Tracy gets the job done. Franchitti slots in. Look at this, though. Carpentier tries to get inside Moreno. Oh, he hangs on to it. Up comes Junqueira to battle with him. Carpentier, remember, finished second. Last time we raced in the rain, he's very good in the rain.
Remember, Carpentier and Moreno banged wheels coming off the third corner a week ago in Detroit in the final laps.
And Brian Herta off course. Looking to see what this is going to do to the flag condition. And they're going to go full course caution again.
Well, Tracy has picked up anywhere between a handful of positions to 1 or 2 positions on the start and subsequent restarts. Tracy must be loving this. Remember, he started back all the way down in 13th place.
Alex Tagliani with a quick on and off. Looks like there might have been damage to the right rear of that car.
We'll have a look at it as he comes down the back straightaway now.
I can't get this thing going.
Oh, yeah, that tire is definitely on its way down to the rim.
See there how bright and distinctive the taillights at least are. Pace car is ready to roll out in front of the field again and pick them up under the full course caution.
Cars head down into the festival curves on the restart. Tracy sliding by. We can see Dario going by. And there, looks like a nice punch from behind for Max Wilson on the turn-in. Puts her into the gravel track.
There's a look down from the Honda Helicam.
There, you can see the contact right there. Max Wilson getting into the back of Herta.
And Shinji Nakano was right there able to watch us. Look at Helen's car right across. Okay, no problem.
Just a quick hello. He turns in, look up ahead. There's the punch. Quick spin off. Shinji goes, okay, I'll take that position. Thank you very much.
They have Herta back under power. But they're going to have to pay a little closer attention if they want to run a full lap under green. We'll be back.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
By the time a Firestone tire reaches the store, you can be confident
Our 45,000 employees have worked to make it right. And we're not stopping there. I'm John Lampe, Firestone's new CEO. We're making targeted upgrades in the material and construction of our tires. The result? A positive impact on the tire's performance. It's an important part of our ongoing Making It Right plan, because Firestone's commitment to safety doesn't end when you leave the store, it begins.
Tom, my car is jerking something awful. The engine goes, but the car doesn't. And today I noticed some big red oil spots on my garage floor. Can you fix them?
A lot of people bring us this type of problem. They don't realize that by adding Lucas Transmission Fix, they can save on expensive repairs. Lucas Transmission Fix renews worn bands to stop slipping. Power steering stop leak is available at truck stops and auto parts stores nationwide. Call toll-free for a dealer near you.
We've just gone green once again. Paul Tracy forced his way around Scott Dixon, coming off of the curves, moves into second place.
That's not bad. He does at least one car a restart. He's saying, well, look, we're going to have somebody off this lap, and then I'll just have a run at Max and see what happens.
Interesting conversation as they came to the start from John Anderson to Paul Tracy, guys. He was saying, a lot of guys are going to make mistakes today. You don't have to push right now. Oh, yeah?
Well, maybe that's Paul's example of actually not pushing. So how Paul Tracy get into second place? Watch him. He'll go way, way out. Now watch this move here.
He set the pass up coming off of turn 12. Had a lot more speed coming down the straightaway. And just says, okay, I'll take you under braking on the outside, and then I'm going to chop your nose coming off the corner. Just emphasize the pass.
Pretty cool driving by Dixon as well for not trying to crowd him in there. Dario Franchitti. Let's take a look back. It looks like he is around Dixon back there in the mist. Yes, he is. Now Moreno comes up to challenge Dixon. Carpentier is in there.
Max Wilson up to 7th place. Tremendous effort for the Air Cero Blair team. A year-old Cosworth in this car, Lola chassis, no testing, no technological support, wind tunnel or shaker table. It's just up to the driver. And Max Wilson has made a great run with Paul Tracy now. Max Wilson starting back in 19th place, Paul Tracy in 13th. Those two currently running 7th and 2nd.
And this may be a great chance for Max Wilson. Team totally reorganized a week ago. Larry Blair coming fully on board to join the organization. Bob Sproul involved as well, and they're really getting it together, and this rain is going to help them. Mauricio Guzman, 8th place. On board with Mo. Tracy Franchitti, Scott Dixon, Gary Gerald.
Quick update while we were away. Tagliani, who had damage on the right rear, came into the pits. They replaced that right rear, changed all the rain tires on each corner, and looked over the suspension. Apparently no damage, so he was back out.
Well, believe it or not, we actually got a full lap under the green. I hope that wasn't too premature to say that. Oriol Servia is in and out serving the penalty that he had. But look at this. Look at the list of names. And the top 3 of that list are out of the race already. But look at the list of guys that have been off course.
12 of the 26 starters. That's what happens in these sort of track conditions. Now, keep in mind, some of these drivers were victims of other people's mistakes. But still, the rain is the great equalizer. It changes everything. And as I said at the beginning of the show, you've got to have a lot of luck on your side to get through one of these things cleanly.
There goes Scott Dixon, Roberto Moreno in chase, followed by Carpentier and Wilson. And don't guess it's going to be a surprise to anybody should they find to declare this a 2-hour time limit event. We're We're only 17 laps into it, and we've been running for about 25 minutes now, but they don't officially do that toward the end of the run.
You see a lot of variation in line technique today as the drivers are trying to find the most grip possible. A lot of oil on line. You'll see the drivers crossing the traditional line, driving around the outside of the corners, trying to figure out how to get 800-plus horsepower down to the asphalt as efficiently as possible. That onboard with Mauricio Guzman, you can hear him in the low-speed corners just creeping, trying to feed the throttle on. You have to be very careful, very gentle with your hands, your foot on the brake, but especially the throttle pedal.
Roberto Moreno, currently 5th. And here is Gil de Ferran, who has been steadily working his way back up. He now runs in 13th place after his spin early on. Look back and see how Kenny Breck is doing. The points leader has been struggling most of this weekend, and what counterpoint that is, there's Kenny. What counterpoint that is to his teammate Pappas, who takes the pole and leads from the pole and is leading now. You wonder if Kenny Breck's back-to-back victories didn't have some sort of psychological effect on Pappas.
Well, it's definitely that time of the season when people start talking about contracts for next year, and it's interesting how the thought of possibly not being unemployed or employed for next year can change your motivation and your whole outlook on life.
And Tora Takagi, second time off course. Well up by the fence. We'll see what they decide to do with him. They may just decide that's where they're going to leave the car. He remains in the cockpit and is hoping that they'll come over and hook the rope on him and get him out of there. And when you talk about the Ray Hall Letterman team, Pappas and Kenny Breck, what you have to remember there is the Atlantic champion, Buddy Rice, is optioned to that team. So that's a little threat that just floats out there.
It's just what a driver doesn't want.
They've done it again. Full course caution this time for Tora Takagi.
You got to remember the competitors like Max Pappas and the rest of this group, though, are under a lot of pressure and have been for a very long time in their careers. So they just do the best job they can every day they come to the track.
Let's see what's going to happen here. The pits are open for this one. And Pappas, Tracy, Franchitti, they all appear to be staying out. We'll see if anybody turns in. Been watching that interesting strategy. Look at Tracy dart out there. He doesn't want to. Oh, he wants to come up and say something to Pappas. Look at him look over there.
Saying, you're next, buddy.
Max, it's me, and you know what I can do.
No one else has kept me behind him on the restarts. Do you think you can?
So, under the full course caution once again with just 20 of the 98 laps complete, Max Pappas still the leader.
Okay, Jillian, what is the single nastiest, most disgusting thing you can think of?
Roaches crawling in my underwear.
Luis? Sticking a used Q-tip in my ear. Cherie?
Smoking a cigarette.
Smoking. It's gross, nasty, disgusting, deadly. That's why more and more adults and teens never start.
Choosing the right Medicare supplement plan is so important, but it can be confusing. I needed answers to several questions, and I found them in this Guide to Health Insurance for People with Medicare. It's available absolutely free. I learned how Medicare supplement policies give you the freedom to choose the doctors and hospitals you want, and how once the policy is issued, your coverage can never be canceled. Call for your free Medicare supplement guide today.
To receive your free guide, call 1-800-457-4102.
Wow! Look at her! She's different than the girls at school. Whoa! He's touching her. He is so lucky! I gotta learn how to skate. I feel kind of funny. Oh, no, don't go, no, please, no! Yes, yes!
Get into the lives of athletes off the field. The Life, presented by Sprite, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on ESPN.
Welcome back to Portland. The NHRA is just outside of St. Louis for the Sears Craftsman Nationals. Bruce Sarver leads the way in funny cars as the top qualifier. 3 hours of coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Still under the full course caution. We'll give you the current standings under the caution as we look out from the side of Mauricio Guzman's car. Pappas, Tracy still kind of talking a little bit to Pappas, letting him know that he's there. Well, this FedEx vignette focuses on tracking. FedEx tracks more than 3 million packages each day. Each package's barcode is scanned an average of 23 times in order to ensure proper delivery. In the CART FedEx Championship Series, telemetry on board the cars is used to track the race cars around the entire track. Computers allow the teams to track miles an hour, RPM, G-loading to the drivers, as well as other stress and strain placed on the car. This telemetry and data retrieval makes the CART FedEx Championship Series one of the most sophisticated in the world. So waiting for a green flag once again, and a start and stop race on a rainy day in Portland. No doubt in Parker or my mind that it's going to end up being a timed race unless something drastic happens here. So that'll carry it right to a 2 hour from the green flag. And when they do go back to green, can you imagine what psychologically Paul Tracy has been doing to Max Pappas? Gary Gerald.
One concern for Paul Tracy, John Anderson, and that part of Team Cool Green is the fact that they've lost a sensor that reads on their pit speed limiter. And so they're trying during this yellow to figure out if in fact it's anywhere near accurate. And I think that's one of the reasons why under the yellow a couple of times he was pulling up alongside his teammate Dario Franchitti. No answer yet as to whether or not they've learned anything, but they do confirm that a sensor is out. And so when he does visit the pits, he's going to be very, very careful.
Tracy is doing everything he can to drive Pappas nuts.
This is the driving equivalent of an athlete talking smack right here, Paul. He's just trying to get inside Max's head. He's coming down both sides saying, hey, we're about ready to go for this restart. I just want to let you know I'm going to be right there with you, Max.
Well, and he does have the advantage, Tracy does, of having Dario, his teammate, right behind him, so he doesn't have to worry all that much about what Dario is going to do, but he has to give it some consideration.
And Paul's got to be careful because up until this pole position, we may have seen slightly irritated Max, but he's fully back to Mad Max now.
We're going to keep the yellow flag out on this one. So they're wave off, as you hear.
There might be some concern there, Paul, because I've noticed on these numerous restarts, Max Pappas has been bringing him back to the line very slowly coming off that final corner. Of course, he's trying to take advantage of being the lead car in the race. And what ends up happening is that he's trying to get a jump on everyone, but it's a little dangerous. They want the field to come up gradually and consistently up to full speed.
Well, they set a set of cones. In this case, they're way back at the last turn. And at that point, Max is supposed to accelerate. You see him there off to the right side of the course. He didn't. And that's why officially, race control reports, they decided not to go green. So Max has to bring them all around again. Jan Pikus, radio communication so critical here, and sometimes it's kind of neat more than just listening to it.
Yeah, that's true, Paul. There's some new radios that the teams are using up and down pit road that the FBI and the Secret Service are also using. See where it says Team Green 39D? If I change the channel, I can change that from digital channels, and that will disappear, if I can turn it properly, to go to analog channels. So you have encrypted or you have analog. So today they're using analog so the people in the stands can hear on the scanners, but if you want to talk encrypted, don't want anybody to eavesdrop, you can go to the digital channel. Now, like I talked about, these are used in other areas. $3,000 to $5,000 for this. Here's the cool part. On a rainy day, these are totally submergible. They still work just good as new.
No, not that one, Jan. That was the wrong one.
It's the other one, Jan. And by the way, it's real expensive. All right, we're looking for a green this time. We'll watch it from the starter's perspective. Jim Swintel.
Green, green, green. Green.
Well, that acceleration didn't help Tracy.
That was a great start by Max. He still hoodwinked them, got a good run coming onto the pit straightaway. Team Green cars going out wide. Max had kept it in tight. no problem.
Boy, it's still like ice back there. Tracy now in full pursuit. Michel Jourdain Jr. off course.
And that one section we saw coming off the festival, that is polished concrete down there, so it is very much like ice when it's got a layer of rain on it.
I want to show you what happened to Michael Andretti as he came to the start.
Whoa, baby, we saw Montoya do that a couple of years ago with exactly the same results. Spin and keep on trucking.
Full course caution once again. 23 laps complete. Now Jourdain Jr. got where he is, and we'll show you that as well.
They're coming off the festival curves where it makes that transition from asphalt or from concrete back to asphalt. He got on the power a little bit too hard. See, it's a little rough there. He keeps his foot in the throttle there until he finally gets the clutch in, tries to keep the motor running, but unfortunately he was unable to.
Now they're going to get him out of there as well. I wonder, Parker, there really can't come a point, can there, where they say if you spin, we're going to leave you out there, because the car itself becomes an obstacle that is creating an unsafe situation, even though it's way off. Well, 24 of the 98 complete. There is the rundown as they stand now with a Ford, followed by 2 Hondas, then 2 Toyotas. And crew members are kind of wondering, I think, like everybody else, when are we going to get some consecutive laps of green?
Did you ever see that movie, You've Got Mail? Where this guy and girl fall in love emailing each other a bunch of times? Anyway, they finally meet face to face, and there's this big romantic kiss. Do you know the movie I'm talking about? Did you ever see that one? Well, this guy didn't. Ford F-Series Super Duty. Built Ford tough.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
I should have used Preparation H.
New Preparation H medicated wipes with aloe, the easy way to cleanse, cool, and soothe. Easier because they're 4 times bigger than Tux pads. New Preparation H medicated wipes. Big relief.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
For over 60 years, Owens Corning has been advancing the science of insulation, roofing, sound control, even home theaters. And everything we've learned, we've put into one very special place, your home. Owens Corning. We know homes.
The forces of nature never stop attacking, but Thompson's Water Seal has never been better. We give you the highest level of water protection available, guaranteed. Thompson's Water Seal, now in clear and 5 natural colors.
Brett Ho, Oscar De La Hoya, Tiger Woods. It's 3Play at ESPN.com. You log on, you register, and every day you get 3 new athletes. Then whoever gets the best stats wins some serious scotto. Ken Griffey Jr., Alonso Jr., a filly in the 9th named Jr. 3Play at ESPN.com. It's free, it's sports. Give me the briefcase. It's money.
Presented by Gatorade.
Welcome back to Portland. The green flag just came out again. We are racing once again. Start was even, no real problem. Max Pappas was able to pull away, though Paul Tracy and Dario Franchitti gave it every try they could.
Dario Franchitti making a move down the inside, doesn't quite make it. Paul gets him under braking. Everyone slots in behind, comes out of the festival curves cleanly.
Scott Dixon spun coming to the restart, lost some places, dropped down to 10th place, but the car's okay and he's back in competition. Gary, there's interesting conversations in the Team Green pit.
Oh, it's almost fun. You were talking about the mind games between Tracy and Pappas before these restarts. Tracy, of course, is known to get a little excited sometimes in the cockpit, and he has just been roasted Max Pappas because he says he's on the brakes, he's off the brakes. He says, tell him to get his, you-know-what, head together. Well, John Anderson, the calming influence on the pit wall, keeps telling Tracy on these restarts, don't worry about number 7 right now. Just get the start. You'll pass him later. Pleading patience, patience, patience. For Paul Tracy, that is a big challenge.
They're going to give a drive-through penalty to Michael Andretti, is the report, for passing before the start. Since they tell you green on the radio, you can't really always see the flag back in the back of the field.
No, you can't at all. You can't see anything on the straightaway. And once that green comes out, you can begin passing. You don't have to wait for the start-finish line on the restarts. So if you're a green over the radio, you go.
On board here with Mauricio Bruseman, 7th place. Christian Fittipaldi is right behind him. First turn.
Listen how gingerly he applies throttle now. Creep, creep, creep. Short shifts. Easy.
Watch the starter stand while we keep an eye on Mo, because Michael Andretti has not yet answered the flag for the penalty, and at a certain point they just stop storing him. So that actually will happen if he does not answer the flag this time. Michael Andretti, one of those having a less than great day, currently running 15th. Little bit of back straightaway there is. Line up behind Jimmy Vasser. Tracy and Franchitti. And they're going to make it safely through again. I can't imagine how many warnings there have been for the two of them not to race hard with one another. Michael Andretti does answer the flag. Seems that the green cars are the ones that are putting on the biggest fight at the moment. Back here is 12th place Kenny Breck. In front of him is D'Amata. Michael Andretti was in front of D'Amata until he pulled off to answer the black flag penalty.
If you look at the championship implications so far today, we've had Breck leading the championship off the road, Casnevis in second off the road, Andretti in third off, D'Amata in fourth off, Gilles Ferrin in fifth off, Paul Tracy stayed on, and then Scott Dixon back in 8th place. He's had his spin. So if you look at what's going on here points-wise, it's the championship no one really wants to take a hold of and lead strongly.
Max Pappas stretches out just a little bit. They come single file. There's Roberto Moreno, 4th place.
Had a great run last week in Detroit. First podium this year, finishing 3rd. Remember, he finished 2nd here last year. I went and asked the team if they had found something since their qualifying had improved the last few weekends for both Jimmy Vasser and Roberto Moreno. They said, well, Pat Patrick had a little motivational speech with the drivers. Nothing new technologically, nothing new with the engineering staff.
It's some old psychology.
That's right.
You like working?
You want to keep working?
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I look at the top 5, while there is some fine driving there, and Pappas, of course, has had clear sailing all the way, it looks like it's more in order of who hasn't been off course.
Well, that's true, and you've got some very good, very experienced rain drivers right at the front. Carpante, as you mentioned earlier, of course, Max Wilson in 6th place. Great run for Arcero Blair.
But there's the top 5 for you. It's Ford, then 2 Hondas, then a Toyota, and then a Ford. We want to show you the top. Moreno, Dario Franchitti, Paul Tracy, and of course our leader, Max Pappas.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. That's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
Superbike champion Matt Mladen, and the unparalleled Suzuki GSXR line. Own the racetrack.
Par, birdie. Whoa, par. Must be a Golf Magazine subscriber. Call now for your free trial issue and learn how to shave 3, 4, or 5 strokes off your game. Add 20 yards to your tee shots, improve your short game, shoot lower, and play the best golf of your life. Call now for your free trial issue of Golf Magazine. If you like it, get 11 more issues, 12 in all for just $15.94. Plus, get this terrific Golf Magazine gear bag free with your paid subscription. Call the toll-free number on your screen now.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call for this free video to find out which job is right for you. And if you call 1-800-645-ARMY right now, you'll also receive a free Army t-shirt with your video. Discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of one.
At Portland, don't forget wrap-up of everything that's happened here, including the lights, the NHRA in St. Louis, and wins the Cup at Sears Point on RPM. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Great shot, Shinji Nakano. Adrian Fernandez had a tire going down. They brought him in.
With that on board with Shinji, you can see Shinji rip off one of the tear-off straps on the helmet. That's the driver's equivalent to a windshield wiper. Typically, you'll have 2 to 3 of those in a dry race. On a wet race, you might have 5 or more, and they're right, left on tabs. Try to grab the right one at the right time, get a clear visor for a few laps, and then go for another one as you need it.
As soon as he can, Adrian got over to the right, out of the way, let the leaders come through. Alex Zanardi was one of those early outs, started his worst start ever in kart, in last position, Jan Beekes.
Yeah, but the good news is he's out of the infield medical center, and Alex, that was a big hitter. You're okay?
I was better before, but after all, yes, I'm fine.
Now, what happened there?
I don't know exactly what happened between Tony and Memo, but the thing I know is that I got collected as Memo spun and came and collected me. Very unfortunate, but there's nothing I can do right now.
I know it's been a very tough weekend. What's going to be able to get you back on track?
Well, look, after the warm-up this morning where I ran 3rd fastest and I could have even gone faster, I thought, okay, this is the day. We're going to get everybody's morale up to where it's supposed to be again, and we're going to have the performance. But unfortunately, when you start back there, you know, you can't really call it bad luck because it can happen out there, and it's very frustrating for our sponsor, Pioneer WorkCom, who haven't been able to deliver yet. We are in deep troubles performance-wise, but all I can say is that we're going to work very, very hard, and we're going to get on top of problems. I can promise you that, and we will stop making people laugh and start to make people smile, probably.
All right. We hope we smile soon. Thanks, Alex.
Watching Alex Tagliani, he had a quick off and on. You saw Adrian Fernandez. And we're going to show you what happened to Tagliani first that got him off on, and we've just gone full course caution again. Here's Tagliani's, whoa, big wide swing there.
Do a little mowing of the grass here at Portland.
Also, keeping an eye on Shinji Nakano, the green and white car. Now watch his cockpit. Some sort of padding?
Yeah, looks like one of the pads around the helmet area just got loose and flipped out of the car.
And from that point of view, no, nothing you can tell there. But it didn't affect Shinji Nakano. Here is Max Pappas, his first stop, Jan.
Yes, and of course, as the leader, he did not have good qualifying previously, so he has a pit selection near pit in. Obviously, he's still on wet tires. No visible changes. Oh, just over 10 seconds, Gary.
Paul Tracy getting fuel, got fresh tires. His teammate, there goes Max Pappas. Here goes Tracy. Oh, there's a collision. He banged into Junqueira, and there should be damage because it was a big hit.
Well, we watched him. He just came past our booth position here as Junqueira goes in. I saw nothing obvious, but obviously we're going to be looking at that very carefully.
Great stop by the Pat Patrick team for Roberto Moreno. He gets out in front of both Tracy and Franchitti.
Got back to 1. No, I'm finished. I'm finished.
He's finished, he says. See if we can look at the toe link here. With the front suspension, obviously something's bent. Paul knows it. As Gary said, it must have been a big impact. We'll take a look at it here. Here's Tracy on the launch out. Junqueira just going down the pit road. Man!
Yeah, he went out all the way to the what we'd call the high-speed lane. They're supposed to come out and join, but I wonder why.
Well, you'd have to get inside Paul's head to figure that one out, and that's a place I'm not willing to go at this particular point.
After such a good run, and Junqueira, he's done for the day.
How disappointing for Chip Ganassi Racing, both of their cars out. We'll see if we can see a difference in the front alignment of the suspension of Tracy, because that was just a huge hit. And even though these cars are built to sustain impacts at 240 miles an hour, look at where this wheel's pointed and where that wheel's pointed. I can guarantee you that's not right.
I think that's a little too much toe.
That's a little too much toe in, I think, unless you're really trying to put some heat in those front tires.
Now, Christian Fittipaldi stayed out during these stops, so he will assume the lead of the race, followed by Cristiano D'Amata. Max Pappas will come across the line, scored in third. Well, once again, we wait for them to go back to green.
Really into your music? Then roll on into Best Buy, where you can have fun checking out thousands of CD titles and the latest booming technology. Best Buy. Go ahead, turn on the fun.
We're out of decaf.
Nextel, how business and racing get done. Want to get right through? Get Nextel Direct Connect, the digital two-way radio feature.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
In our Toyota Spotlight, we want to take a look at Kenny Breck. He, of course, is known for speed on the racetrack, but last week, Breck got to show off his quick wit and his guitar skills with car owner David Letterman on The Late Show, joking around with Dave and stage manager Biff Henderson.
We're having quite a year, aren't we, Kenny?
We are.
How'd things go in Detroit?
Well, you didn't have to bring out the low point of the year.
No. We're fine. All you got to do is score points, my friend. He won 2 in a row. They go to Detroit. You and Max both finish in the points. Now it's on to Portland. I've said it all season. Give him the cup.
Okay. You got to turn around, Biff.
Get in there. Get there, Biff. I don't think it's got anything to do with the belly. It may be the butt.
How do you like working with David Letterman?
Let's go someplace we can talk.
I had my megaphone so I could yell at Biff. What are you doing? Kenny Breck, 12th position. Not his best day. Now we're adding last week to that, so he's had 2 weeks which have not been nearly as fruitful. Now Paul Tracy, believe it or not, they went to work on that car.
Well, in this race, anything can and has happened. For Kenny Breck, he's got no worries yet. There's still a long way to go. Let's see what happened down in the pits with Paul Tracy.
Well, and Tracy was coming out of the pits. Looked like he jumped way over.
Watch here. Boom! Wow, you see the guys jump on the outside. That was a really big hit.
Took out Junqueira, but Tracy came around, got back into the pits. Gary?
Yeah, they came in and they went to work immediately on that whole upright on the left front side, or the left front side. They replaced a couple of suspension pieces and a toe link, and Tracy is back out on course now. Don't know how many laps he lost in that whole process, Paul. I would imagine a couple at least.
We're looking for Tracy. Surprisingly enough, because they were under the full course caution, he's right now being scored only 1 lap behind the leader. Now 98 laps is the scheduled distance. They're working the 37th lap right now, and yet they are well past 1 hour in competition. So again, this will no doubt end as a timed race, though officially they are not notified of that. Pace car comes on. Green flag is already out.
Green.
And playing the gamble, that is Christian Fittipaldi, followed by Cristiano Damana that leads the field down. The teammates. Wow! And this time, it's Dario Franchitti. And that forces a couple of cars to go through the shortcut. They'll be fine as long as they just maintain their position relative to the field.
Your wings look okay.
Well, it's an incident, but not one that's going to bring out a caution.
Like I said, anything can, and so far has happened today. You just have to be patient, try not to make any mistakes, or get stabbed by someone else who is making a mistake. Coming down into the festival curves, you see Franchitti on the outside here. Boom! Right into the back of Brian Herta. Sends him off. Moreno takes the exit. Going down the inside once again. Watch the car there. And that's the hardest thing. You're on the brakes. Oh, my goodness.
We're back live. This is Kenny Breck sliding off. You also saw, as we went away to that replay, that Helio Castroneves was making a move. Jill DeFerrin, we also have a report at a quick off of the circuit. But nonetheless, it's green flag at the start-finish line.
I'm thinking today maybe John Deere would be a good sponsorship with all this off-road activity. Do a little lawn mowing out here.
Max Pappas, currently third. That battle right there, and the one just ahead of it, Herta and Moreno, those are battles for position behind Fittipaldi, Damana, and Pappas. Jan Bikas.
With Bruno Junqueira, who is pretty composed, but I can tell you that Chip Ganassi was absolutely furious, saying that there were drivers out there making, I'm sure he was referring to Paul Tracy, making amateur moves. How did it unfold from your seat?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was doing good race, just keep the car on the track, and that was my plan. I came to pit, and I was on the left line. We have 2 lines, one out of the pit, and Tracy just came out of the pit, just banging my right here wheel. That's, I think he should keep on the right side, and he has a lot of experience. I know that's wet, but he shouldn't do it, but put my race out. I was just behind Christian, and now he's leading the race. I was just learning the track on the wet. I'm really frustrated because I really needed the points on this race.
A very difficult day for the Ganassi team. Thanks, Bruno. Gary?
Yeah, we're just checking here with the Newman Haas team on Christian Fittipaldi. Of course, he's out there at the front now, and he had worked his way from, I think it was his back as deep as 18 or 19. But, of course, he stayed clean. We're wondering when he's going to be committed to make a pit stop. We're told it should be probably 8 to 10 laps. But, of course, the rate things are happening here today may have to be thrown that out the window in the next couple of moments.
Yeah, Gary, he has not stopped at all. So he's on the 40th lap of that fuel tank that he started the race with. And as part of that scenario, his teammate Cristiano Damana, you'll remember, came in about 10 laps into the race, so he's only 28 laps on his fuel tank.
And one more thing that we can add, probably into that mix, the further Christian can go, if in fact this becomes a timed race, as everybody believes, the less fuel he'll have to take on. That may shorten up that stop when he makes it.
Good point. Here comes the rest of that group through. Moreno with Herta behind him. The Penske cars, though lined up right there. Well, here's Shinji Nakano, of course. Can he get back on safely? Should be able to.
Oh, he's got some damage there to the left front, though, Paul.
Yep. First, there's second. Pappas just coming through the corners is third place. So the question becomes Fittipaldi. How far can he go on this tank of fuel? A lot of full course caution.
Well, the other thing is Christian Fittipaldi's also very good around the Portland track. Christian, remember back in '97, had that horrific crash in Surfers Paradise, came back here for his first race back with 2 fractured legs. It drove one of the most inspired races I've seen, coming back to 4th place. Couldn't walk, but drove a great race.
And guess what? It's full course caution once again. And again, that works to the advantage of Fittipaldi.
These logo wheels are extremely cool. You notice they're changing logos as they go on, and he comes into the pits, Paul.
So this is going to work out perfectly for Christian Fittipaldi as he heads under the bridge on the pit road with his teammate right behind him, Gary.
Yes, indeed. And I think we just said about 90 seconds ago, it all may change in the next few moments. And it did change. Firestone's coming off. New set going on. Fueling is complete. Let's check in with Jan.
Right behind you, Gary. Cristiano D'Amato finished his service as well. 10.1 seconds. Unfortunately, he was not able to close the gap on his teammate.
Let's see where they come out. It looks like they're going to join the line about 4th or 5th place. Of course, with the pace car out and the full course caution, that puts Pappas back in front and brings Roberto Moreno up into 2nd place, and Wilson in 3rd. That's pretty cool. We'll be back.
What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be president of the world.
Remember when your days were simple? Communication was effortless and a phone was a phone. Nowadays, a phone is more than just a phone. NEC's telecommunications systems provide practical solutions, protecting your investment as your business grows and technology evolves, keeping you in constant communication with your branch offices. NEC, communications without compromise.
Contact your NEC authorized dealer, Antarcom, serving business one solution at a time.
Okay, Jillian, what is the single nastiest, most disgusting thing you can think of?
Roaches crawling in my underwear.
Luis? Sticking a used Q-tip in my ear. Cherie?
Smoking a cigarette.
Smoking. It's gross, nasty, disgusting, deadly. That's why more and more adults and teens never start.
1,000.
Hi, I'm Jason Williams, and this is ESPN the Magazine's new mascot, Maggie the Magazine.
Hi, America.
So, Maggie, what do you think of ESPN the Magazine's in-depth reporting?
It's magnificent.
And how about the photography?
It's magnanimous.
And how about the magazine's design?
It's magical.
Wait a minute, I think it's pronounced magical.
Oh. I can dance.
Now still raining at Portland. We're still running slow, too. On SportsCenter, a couple of great stories. Sergio Garcia at the Buick Open. And the Road Warrior, Jeff Gordon at Sayers Point. And Randy Johnson versus Larry Walker, the Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. That's all coming up next. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And in this Toyota Spotlight, we want to focus up a little on the 2nd place, Roberto Moreno. He finished 2nd here a year ago in 2000. Took a while to get him out of the cockpit. They couldn't get the wheel off, but they celebrated once he was out. And then last week, remember at Belle Isle, this pass as he banged wheels with Patrick Carpentier? And today, Roberto Moreno sits right now in 2nd place behind the leader, Max Pappas.
I think the guessing game's about to start, Paul, as to whether they can make it to the end or not. They've only got about 45 minutes. We don't care about laps anymore. They should declare this a time race in a little while. It'll be interesting to see if we have a few more yellows, if these guys can actually make it to the end now.
Yeah, what makes it really hard to figure, though, is so many laps under caution. Now only the telemetry, and to a large degree, not even it can help you with that. It ends up to being just a cold hunch. Jan Pikas, Kenny Breck is down in 17th place, our points leader.
Part of the reason, Paul, is because he just made a pit stop, and when he came in, certainly they topped it up with fuel, but they took out a tremendous amount of front wing. I'm guessing like 4 turns it took out of the front wings, and of course what that means is they want to take some bite away from the front so the rear of the car doesn't swing out.
As they get ready to go back green, Jan Vigas, let me just ask you, it looks like in some places it's drying. What's the rain condition in reality?
Well, in reality, it's raining on pit road. Now, yes, these tires will move an incredible amount of water, so there could be places on the racetrack that will start to get a bit drier.
There is the pit road. The pace car is already on it. And the green comes out once again, given to Max Pappas, the leader, Moreno, and then Wilson.
Wilson going down the inside of Castroneves, not for position, but nice pass.
And Castroneves is a lap behind the lead, not in that battle. Next man in the battle's right behind him, Patrick Carpentier. Look down from the Honda Helicam. Pappas, Moreno, Wilson, Castroneves trying to get his lap back. Then Carpentier, Gugelman, and Dixon.
And I can't say enough about Max Wilson and this Arcero Blair team. Oh,
guess what?
But I'll say that in a minute.
Jourdain Jr. and Tagliani both off and both back on. Good. Maybe they can stay green.
That would be different. But Max Wilson and this team, when you're driving for a little team without the technological support, it's amazing, and that's why the rain is so great, is that it gives them the opportunity to show
we're
what they
looking
really
for
have the
Mauricio
ability of.
Gugelman.
That's coming onto the back straightaway. Usually what happens here at Portland is if you hook a wheel off the outside, the car will snap right back to the inside.
Well, I have to choose left. Even went over the curb, but collect by.
Well, they're going to have to go full course caution there, though the field strings by across the line. Paul Tracy off as well. They were about to give him a penalty, but they kind of penalized himself. And we'll show you how at least one of these guys got there. Mauricio Gugelman over, getting the wall on the right side as they turn for the back straightaway. Wings damaged. So is the right rear, and I'd expect the right front as well.
It sounded from his radio conversation like he had help, though, Paul. It sounded like, oh, here we go.
Oh, now we understand it.
He tried to go up over the curb to miss Tracy. There just wasn't enough room, and caught him on the way around.
Oh, those are some very expensive noises, too.
Yes.
Full course caution. Believe it or not, we have said that 8 times today, and this is the 9th. Watch Max Wilson from 3rd place.
Going inside Moreno, or trying.
Up, can't hold that one.
All he has to do is just reassume that position, and there will be no penalty. But that's not quite the way to do it. He's got to back off right away. Chris Neifeld, the chief steward, will not allow anyone to spend a lap or two. But he did the right thing, got back where he needed to. Max Wilson still in 3rd.
Exactly the way that you have to do it. Working on the 45th, getting ready to start the 46th lap. But we'll do it under full course caution again with Pappas still out in front.
To get out there, but then you don't get all the styling, engineering, and mystique of a Kawasaki Vulcan. Somebody's about to ride off with a great deal on a Kawasaki. What are you gonna do on your summer vacation?
2-minute drill is back.
Your 2-minute drill begins now.
1984, which quarterback passed for an NFL record 5,084 yards?
Dan Marino. Have you got the answer? 2-minute drill, hosted by Kenny Mayne, Tuesday at 7 and 7:30 on ESPN.
Welcome back to Portland International Raceway, the Kart FedEx Championship Series. A rain-splattered 200. And we've stopped after 45 laps. The pole sitter, Max Pappas, was back in the lead. Christian Fittipaldi, who led for a while, had the fastest lap. We're only averaging 67.7 miles an hour. These guys out of the race, but they're all okay.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
What's up, son? Dad, it's my power steering. It's leaking. Before you go through a lot of time, expense, and money, why don't you try this? Right, Dad. A bottle of this is going to fix my power steering? Worked on your mother's car. Saved me a lot of time and money.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Mom's car. This stuff will work great.
Thanks, Dad. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It's great stuff.
Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak is available at truck stops and auto parts stores nationwide. Visit our website for more information.
This is you, and you're comparing a 2001 wide-track Pontiac Grand Prix with a Nissan Maxima GXE. The Grand Prix with Smart Package comes with all this cool stuff. How does the Maxima measure up? The same stuff on the Maxima GXE would cost you over $3,300 more. Wider is better. Now, the 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix is an even better value with available cash back. Grand Prix. There's only one place you can get it. Well, there you go.
I've been racing for 36 years. There's one thing that I've learned. Racing is all about trust. Trust in your crew, trust in your car.
Most importantly, trust in your tires.
We race on Firestone. We're committed to building quality tires.
Because whether you're going over 200 miles per hour
or just going home, it's all about trust.
Well, they're still under the full course caution, though. Another lap or so, and they ought to be back to green flag. There is your full field summary with Pappas, Moreno, and the rookie Max Wilson rounding out the top three. We'll be back in a moment.
2-time AMA Superbike champion Matt Mladen and the unparalleled Suzuki GSXR line own the racetrack.
With Quickcrete fast-setting concrete, you just pour it in the hole and add water. It sets hard in minutes. After all, why do you think we call it Quickcrete?
Grandpa?
Where is the most exciting car racing happening today? I'd say in the CART Toyota Atlantic Series. Each car receives an identical Toyota fuel-injected engine. So what's the difference? Skill and guts. These are 60 to 100-mile sprint races with no pit stops.
...2,131 consecutive games for Cal Ripken. What a celebration.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Pito. As Cal Ripken Jr. announced his retirement this week, effective at the end of the season, ESPN Classic is proud to bring you the pinnacle of Ripken's career, September 6, 1995, as he played his 2,131st consecutive gain, surpassing Lou Gehrig. See the event and celebration of a lifetime Sunday night on ESPN Classic.
Well, we're getting ready to go. The green flag once again. It'll be Pappas, Moreno, Wilson as they head for the carousel, and that'll bring them on to the long front straightaway, the pit straight.
Start getting ready. Start getting ready. Let's get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Green, green, green.
Green is out. They charge for the first turn. Max Wilson closes on Moreno. Looks to the inside, nothing there. That's Helio Castroneves in there behind Carpentier, but remember, he's just trying to get his lap back. Scott Dixon, they did have a report of a puff of smoke at the back of his car. He currently sits in 5th place. We'll watch him too. Right behind Dixon is Dario Franchitti. So now we probably, we don't know anything officially, are in the last 34 minutes of the countdown to the second hour. Now let's check with both Gary Gerald, Jan Beekes, what's going on in the pit. Start with Gary.
Well, let's start with Roberto Moreno, who runs in 2nd place, chasing Max Pappas. They believe that all of this yellow has been helping them. They thought it would be very, very tight as to whether or not they could get to the projected end of the race. They were projecting 77, 78 laps at the current race pace, with the 30-plus minutes remaining that you were saying, Paul, and they think they've got the fuel to get them there. So that's good news for Roberto Moreno in the 2nd spot. Jan?
Jan, let me pick it up just a second, because we're watching a great run by Max Wilson, and I just want to hang on to it until we get inside the first turn. Wilson comes in trying to get Roberto Moreno. Moreno slashes across the front of him. Make sure that Wilson can't get him coming back. But they stay in good shape through the first curves. Jan?
What I had was on Max Wilson, and it's because the reason, obviously, he has had an awesome job of driving today, but his team also chose a more full wet setup. So therefore, that's going to help him in the initial stages of the race. Maybe now, because you're seeing him maybe be a bit more desperate in trying to make these moves, as the track dries, that car may not be quite as good as some of the others that went with a midway setup.
Yeah, we should point out, I think, that we haven't mentioned in the last few minutes, it has virtually stopped raining now. So this track may start to dry quickly if we don't get more moisture, and the skies have brightened a bit.
And we can't see the line starting to dry out. The problem that Max Wilson has right now, he's much faster through the back section of the course. When he gets on these long straightaways, especially coming down the back straight, Carpentier with a current 2001 Ford Cosworth, much quicker than Max Wilson running last year's engine. Max gets off this corner very well, though. In the last few laps, has been able to draft up behind Moreno. But look at Carpentier now, getting a better run off the corner. We'll have to see now.
Right behind you, Carpentier.
You can kind of see there how the line's beginning to dry out. Max Wilson pursuing Moreno. Pappas just had to tiptoe through that corner. They all are giving that first turn and the second turn some fairly serious respect now. Of course, it's because it's bitten quite a few people today.
And on these little short shoots, watch Moreno squirt out away from Max Wilson, but when they get into these long sweeping constant radius corners, Max makes it up under braking. You can see it there, and a little bit coming off the corner. But you can see this track's getting drier. What you'll start seeing the drivers doing is going offline, trying to get the tires back into the water to keep the tires cool. These tires are much softer than a dry, slick tire, and they will shred if you overheat them on a drying track surface.
And Jan Beekes, I assume that in the pits they're well aware the track is drying.
They are aware of it. Remember, Paul, this throws a whole wrench into the pit strategy because they were working on fuel, hoping they wouldn't have to come on pit road again. But if you decided you would not want dry tires, you would want slick tires, then you would change your mind, go ahead and turn the fuel up, since you might have to come and get different tires anyway.
Well, you know, almost as soon as you said that it's drying, we're, 200 yards further down the track from you, and you can see the rain pick up. Drops hitting a couple of puddles down here more toward the first turn.
And a drying track is the most difficult sort of track surface for a driver to drive on because there's no consistency from corner to corner. Right now, the drivers have gotten into a groove. The track has stayed pretty consistent. We did see it drying out just a little bit. A little bit of sprinkles will help maintain that consistency. But for Max Wilson, he's just trying to figure out where he can take advantage of Roberto Moreno, try to draft up behind him and try to make a pass stick. But you could see there, coming off the corner, Max a little bit sideways. He's got to be careful not to overheat and burn up those rear rain tires.
And so now, as we're actually counting right through 30 minutes until what would be the end of the second hour, with 52 of the 98 laps complete, what does this do to the fuel strategy? We need to ask that question once again. We'll start with Jan Beekes.
I'm on my way up to the Team Rahal pit to find out what the situation would be for Max Pappas, Paul. I think that it's going to be tough for a team to call right now because they're going to be watching, I think, more carefully the track conditions. If it continues to rain, like you say, it's starting to spit a little bit, then you try and save fuel. If it starts to dry, then you turn it up and go for it.
Gary Gerald, what about down in your area?
Well, in our area, it is now back into the rain mode. It's not heavy, but it is steady. And so we had that break. The skies have brightened.
Sorry, go ahead, Gare.
But it is definitely raining, and that's going to keep it very wet. I think that helps them conserve fuel.
That whoa, by the way, was just for what a cool shot it is. I love this shot as they come through the festival. All right, so Max Pappas has the lead. The rain is picking up just a little bit right now. That's Pat Patrick, who owns the number 20 car of Roberto Moreno, sitting in second place, newlywed guy. And there are the top guys in the field. Ford, Toyota, 2 Fords, then another Toyota. We'll be back.
Just trying to help some people.
What you doing?
Just paying some bills on Fleet Home Link.
How do you do that again?
You just click and pay.
What you doing now?
I'm transferring some funds.
Yeah, I got some funds to transfer too. Oh, sorry. Mr. Big Time Shortstop. A little too cool to hang around. I bet you on that thing, you could even pay some of my bills.
When the critics review Mazda Protege, word travels fast. To which we added a few more words. Right now, Mazda Protege comes with a moonroof and alloy wheels at no extra charge, an $1,100 value. Plus, get low 1.9% APR limited term financing. And get the one feature you'll only find on a Mazda. See your Mazda dealer today.
Anybody have a phone?
I have a phone, but it's out there. You gotta.
Can you grab it for me?
No, I can't.
Yeah, that was
right
real
there,
good. Sure, I'll go get it for you. Here, I'll be right back. Don't think so.
Down the right field line on a hair. He's got another one.
Barry Bonds is chasing history.
I don't want Mark McGwire's home run record. I want his ring.
But in doing so, can he escape his past?
What is the definition of arrogance? To me, it'd be somebody with lack of confidence.
Catch the exclusive interview with Barry Bonds Sunday night on SportsCenter following the Giants and the Cardinals.
We welcome you back to Portland. Sunday Night Baseball will feature the game's biggest story as the San Francisco Giants take on the Cardinals. Barry Bonds has an amazing 39 home runs on the season, more than any other player in history before the All-Star break. Watch him go for number 40 tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, and for more, log on to ESPN.com. Watching here, Oriol Servia sitting there. He's managed to insert himself in the midst of the battle up at the front of the field. It remains Pappas, Moreno, Wilson, Carpentier, Dixon, Franchitti. When you take a look at D'Amata and Servia, they're back sitting 9th and 10th, and Jill DeFerrin is currently standing 11th.
Old teammates Servia and D'Amata. They've run together in the past. One of Servia's best road course finishes coming here last year. The thing that's going to be interesting in the top 12 in the points-paying positions is that we've got Fittipaldi, D'Amata, and Breck all with a 7 to 8 fuel window advantage over the rest of the field. It's going to be very, very close for Pappas, Moreno, Wilson, and the rest. But for those three drivers, I don't think they have any fuel concerns to get to the checkered flag.
As Michael Andretti sits there in 8th place currently, just ahead of Servia. We're back to the front. Here is Max Pappas. Roberto Moreno's only a second and a half back. Jan Beekes.
Remember, Paul, we were going to check in in with Team Rahal to find out about Pappas, and I asked, can you make it to the end on fuel? He kind of gave me that, well, we're not so sure. They're looking at the skies, wondering about the rain. They said it'll be extremely close. For their teammate Kenny Breck, they've been on the radio saying, Kenny, every car you see in front of you is a point.
So now you'd kind of like to know exactly how the Patrick Racing team with Moreno is thinking about it, and how they're thinking about it over at Max Wilson's team. Carpentier, Gary, aren't they telling him to be a little careful?
They have had him in the conservation mode. I just checked with Neil Mickelwright, and he said, obviously, we're trying to calculate how many laps this race will constitute when we get to the 2-hour time limit. Right now, we think it's going to be close, but we think we're going to have maybe 2 gallons left. That's good news for them at this point.
Elio Castroneves just took a shot way over to his right. Now, again, he's trying to get his lap back, but I wonder, and there is Christian Fittipaldi, as Fittipaldi makes a move on Franchitti and picks up 6th place. But is Castroneves trying to cool tires?
That's all he's doing. He's looking for standing water to try to run those very deeply grooved rain tires through that water in order to cool them down, because as those big blocks that evacuate that water start running on a drying track, they overheat and chunk off, and in a matter of a lap or two, you can completely destroy the tires. So if you're trying to get to the end, you've got to find standing water in order to cool them down to save the tires. We'll see more drivers doing that as this race goes on.
Well, of course, that adds another aspect to the whole thing, because while you might be able to make it on fuel as the track dries in some areas, because it's raining on the front stretch right now, eating away at those tires.
When I say those tires go off, Paul, when they start to chunk, you can lose 3, 5, 7, 10 seconds a lap if they get really bad. So it's something you definitely have to manage, something you have to be very aware of.
Fittipaldi working on Scott Dixon, tries to cut inside him, almost loses the car as he does so. Comes onto the pit straight. Again, Castroneves sweeps inside, can't get Carpentier, and Fittipaldi can't get Dixon.
And what we saw Christian Fittipaldi doing is just looking for the most grip possible coming off that last corner. It's simply a matter of not maybe the quickest racing line in the dry, just looking for the most grip in the wet.
Our leader remains Max Pappas.
Overtake if you need it.
Last year, Pappas led 45 laps in the entire season. Today, he's led 50. Tightest action on the track is right here. As Fittipaldi works on Dixon, Franchitti trying to stay with Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi got around him about 2 laps ago. 22 minutes, 15 seconds on our very unofficial clock for the end of the 2-hour period. They're on the 58th lap. Max Pappas out alone in front. Roberto Moreno is right there in attack position. It would only take a tiny mistake by Pappas, and Moreno would be all over him and into the lead. So now we'll show you in descending order the top of this field, beginning with Patrick Carpentier in 4th, and then Wilson, then Roberto Moreno, and our leader, Matt.
This is you, and you're comparing a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am with a Honda Accord. The Grand Am SE with the solid value package comes with all this cool stuff. The Accord? Well, to get the same stuff, you have to pay over $2,500 more. Grand Am does give you more thrills for your dollar. It's sporty, it's exciting, and now get cash back or low 0.9 APR financing on Grand Am. See dealer for residency and other restrictions. Grand Am, this is where you get it. Well, there you go.
You know, a chief executive is only as effective as the people around him. And so tonight, I see this as an honor for all our people. Their intelligence, professionalism, and their poise.
Want to stop rushing to make shipping cutoffs?
Did I make it? Yeah, you got later pickups now.
Introducing FedEx Extra Hour service. Ship up to 3 hours later and still get it there overnight.
You got a shrimp thing happening in your pocket.
The forces of nature are waging a war, and the target is your deck. But Thompson's Water Seal will stop them, because when others fail, Thompson succeeds, protecting your deck like no other, guaranteed. Thompson's Water Seal. It never takes a day off.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
I should
to use Preparation H.
New Preparation H medicated wipes with aloe, the easy way to cleanse, cool, and soothe. Easier because they're 4 times bigger than Tux pads. New Preparation H medicated wipes. Big relief.
There are other ways to get out there, but then you don't get all the styling, engineering, and mystique of a Kawasaki Vulcan. Somebody's about to ride off with a great deal on a Kawasaki. What are you gonna do on your summer vacation?
Welcome back to Portland. Continue to roll with Roberto Moreno trying to catch Max Pappas. He's been inching up on him. There are the current standings for you. A bit of a separation. Back to Wilson. Into the first corner.
He's picked up
challenge there.
A couple of tenths a lap on the interval. And you can see now he's getting in a position to challenge. Roberto taking the entire lap just to try to set Max up coming back onto the pit straightaway. He's got to maintain contact all the way through this back section. The critical section, 10, 11, and 12. He's got to make sure he's right up behind Max to see if he can pop out and outbreak him going down to the festival curves.
Max Pappas, only one win in his career, that one in Miami. 86 starts. This was his second start from the pole here today, and he has not had the best of years thus far, but it's looking awful good now. Jan Beekes?
Just asked the team if Max Pappas was slowing down or was Moreno speeding up, and they said, we're slowing down. We have told him we've got to conserve some fuel. It's going to be touch and go for us to the end.
All right, again on our clock, 18 and a half minutes to the 2-hour period, 60 laps completed. They're working lap 61, 98 laps the scheduled distance. Gary Gerald.
Well, that's very interesting about Max Pappas, because here in the Roberto Moreno camp, they are, in fact, have just told Roberto in the last couple of months that he can use, and he already has used, the overtake button a couple of times. So they're definitely not in the big fuel conservation mode here. They're feeling pretty confident that they'll be able to go to the time limit with the fuel they have on board.
Oh, this is getting good.
I don't know what happened to Roberto on the back section that time, but he lost nearly a full second on the interval to Pappas. Max Wilson, who was almost 2 seconds behind Moreno, has now closed up almost 9/10 on that lap.
Well, think about this one. Top 5, Pappas, Moreno, Wilson, Carpentier, Scott Dixon. In the top 5, a total of 3 career wins. Pappas, Moreno, Dixon, each one.
Max, of course, looking for his first win on a road course. This is his 50th start in kart on a street or road course combination.
Max Pappas.
Max Pappas, that first win coming at Homestead at the season opener last year. So this is a very different animal to conquer. And look at the win at Moreno for Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, this has just turned the championship upside down. A whole different group of drivers now at the front, but it shows the depth of the talent and the ability of the kart field, where you've got 15, 17 plus guys all capable of winning a race. And here's a guy like Max Wilson who's got a very good shot.
There's Max Wilson. Carpentier still there, but in fuel conservation mode. Jan?
For Max Wilson, just check with the team. They said, no worries. We got all the fuel that we need. We're telling them, use what you want. Maybe that 2000 power plant saves a bit more fuel, could be an advantage today.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's an accurate transmission to him. Some of them I'm not so sure of, but I think they're being pretty straight up there. Gary Gerald, Carpentier, still 4th, working on Wilson.
Still 4th, and he's now having to conserve more than he was earlier. We had that report from Neil Mickelwright just a few minutes ago that they thought they might have a couple of gallons left. Now that's getting a little bit iffy, we understand. In fact, they're telling Carpentier, lift at the end of the back straightaway, anything you can do to help save some precious fuel.
I hope they're also telling him that the car behind him, Helio Castroneves, is not a fight for position. As they go around toward Takagi, Castroneves is driving that car as hard as he can, just trying to get his lap back.
Boy, and this is not where you want to be if you're...
Here comes Fittipaldi making his move on Dixon. Oh, that was smooth and sweet. Very nice.
And that's exactly the break Christian Fittipaldi needed. They got held up behind Toru Takagi entering the back left-hander, turn 10, coming off the straightaway. It checked up Castroneves and Dixon. Fittipaldi was able to maintain his momentum, slip inside going into turn 12.
And Dixon is able to get in and around Takagi and renew the battle, as was Dario Franchitti. So So Tora moved a little left and let them all through as they entered the first turn. Just a bit over 15 minutes. Again, they don't make it official until the last 10. Pappas, Moreno, Wilson, Carpentier, Fittipaldi. Those are the top 5. And all around the circuit, it begins to rain just a little bit harder. 4 Toyota, 2 Fords, and 2 Toyotas.
Cup of coffee, please, and a straw. Thanks, he walked right by me. Hey, what's this?
The Toyota Tundra has turned its share of heads, so it's not surprising that when J.D. Power and Associates asked truck owners what they thought, Tundra was voted most appealing full-size pickup.
Look at you. You keep eating those donuts, you're gonna be a full-size pickup.
The Toyota Tundra, better from the ground up.
Next stop, Chunkyville, population U.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
For over 60 years, Owens Corning has been advancing the science of insulation, roofing, sound control, even home theaters. And everything we've learned, we've put into one very special place, your home. Owens Corning, we know homes.
From the quarter mile at St. Louis to the third turn at Talladega to the pits of Laguna Seca. Wherever innovation is the margin between win and lose, the pros reach for the same tools you do. Craftsman, the official tools of CART, NHRA, and NASCAR.
Back at Portland International Raceway, the CART FedEx Championship Series. Nothing has changed. Pappas still leads. We want to update you on a few news and notes from the weekend. Memo Gidley is replaced Ganassi and Ganassi, but he didn't have the greatest start in the world. Is currently 27th out of the race on the very first lap. And then Honda did appeal the protest ruling by CART concerning the new pop-off valves. And we anticipate an announcement on Monday by CART and the Michigan Speedway that we expect the announcement to be that CART will not race at Michigan in 2002. Pappas, Moreno, Wilson, Carpentier, Fittipaldi. 12 minutes and 30 seconds left to go on our unofficial clock. They have completed now 65 laps. They're running 66. Gary Gerald.
Projecting here, at least in the Patrick pit, that it'll be a 77-lap race at the current pace when they get to the time limit. And in fact, they've told Roberto Moreno, you need to get 2.1 miles per gallon. You are currently getting 2.3. They're very happy here.
Yeah, but we just showed the last couple of laps, and Moreno's losing a little ground. Pappas swings over, picks up some cooling moisture on the tires. Moreno losing a little bit to Pappas there, Park.
The interval keeps changing anywhere between 0.7 of a second to about 1.4. This last lap, it was at 1.18 seconds. Max Wilson falling back now 4.4 seconds behind Max Pappas. So Moreno keeping in contact there. You could just see Max Wilson coming into the shot for a moment. Moreno, though, if he's going to make a charge to put pressure on Pappas, has got to get up closer and start trying to force an error from Max Pappas. So far, Max has driven an absolutely flawless race.
We mentioned Memo Gidley, who is intensely popular with all the crews down here. They've all congratulated him on getting this new part-time, though it be, ride with Target Chip Ganassi, and right now he's with Gary Gerald.
Well, Memo, we were just talking about what a popular addition you've been to this series for this event today. I know you must be extremely disappointed. Do you think what has happened today at all jeopardizes your opportunity to continue to run with this team?
Well, it probably doesn't help, but, you know, there's not a whole lot that I can do about it. I mean, the Target Chip Ganassi team is a great team. They gave me a great opportunity. And being out there and getting run into by Tony Kanaan was kind of out of my hands and out of my control. It was just a racing circumstance, and that's the way it is. It's not a whole lot I could have done about it.
in the short time that you had to try to get acclimated? How comfortable did you feel, knowing, of course, with the wet today, it was going to be extremely difficult?
Well, it seems like wherever I go, I'm faced against adverse conditions or circumstances, so I knew it was going to be tough. But I've been around and I practice in the rain all the time with my shifter cart, and you know, I know about driving in the rain. I just wish we could have done more than a lap. I think it would have turned out really good.
I hope we get a chance to see you show your skills again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mimo.
Well, while Pappas has a little over a second pad over Moreno, this battle third and downward really has heated up. Carpentier has tried Wilson several times. You see Fittipaldi has moved in to join the fight as well.
And boy, that was a big mistake for Max. He got wide coming onto the back straightaway there. Cost a lot of exit speed. And that just gave Carpentier and Christian Fittipaldi the opportunity to close up that small gap. They'll definitely make a run on him coming out of turn 12 down to the festival course.
Yeah, don't count out Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti, who are just out of the picture here. Here they come as they come back onto the pit straight.
Boy, you see Carpentier, some nice opposite lock coming down there.
Time to race. We feel that there are 9 laps remaining.
The word to Fittipaldi as he tries to work Carpentier. Can they get through here? Carpentier gets out of it, saves the car. Fittipaldi gets the position.
Well,
and Franchitti's going to try Dixon because of that.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, Carpentier had no choice. It was either off the road or bang wheels. Boy, that was extremely close. The same sort of way that Carpentier got shoved off the road by Franchitti and then by Moreno last weekend in Detroit, but he really had no place to go there.
But you heard on the radio to Fittipaldi that they told him they figure 7 to go in this race, and this clock we're giving you now is the countdown toward the 2-hour time limit, which is certainly going to be enforced here today. Not really new news. I think everybody expected that from the end of the first half hour with all those full course caution periods early on.
Max Wilson, much more clean exit that time coming onto the back straightaway. This is the corner that's saving him. Apparently he's able to get the power down and get off this corner much more cleanly than Christian Fittipaldi, but this time Fittipaldi very, very close. He's going to hit the overtake button. We know he's got plenty of fuel. He's going to try to draft up behind. Max Wilson very protective of the line. Fittipaldi tries the outside.
And he sweeps across Max Wilson and picks up third place.
That was a very, very nice move by Christian Fittipaldi. Had him looking back to the outside. Max missed the breaking point by just a little bit. Got wide. Christian Fittipaldi back on the racing line, right past Max Wilson.
Christian Fittipaldi was recognized as the Motor Sportsman of the Year by the Boy Scouts of America here this week. And we were all kidding with him because he had to get up at about 6 o'clock. And we were kidding. That just isn't the Brazilian nature. And then I added maybe he just stayed up overnight. He denied it, though.
We should mention you also received the Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations. But, yeah, that was something I never expected. You with that award and a Brazilian up at 6:30 in the morning. Who would have thought?
Back at the front.
4 seconds to Marino.
That interval must be Fittipaldi to Moreno. Talking to Fittipaldi.
Last lap, it was 1.02 seconds. This lap, Pappas pulls out 0.2 of a second.
I mentioned a little bit earlier, that lineup, all the way back to Michael Andretti in 8th, that's all for position. Again, it looks like the track is trying to dry, and I don't see any raindrops hitting the puddles on the front stretch.
This track will dry very quickly once the rain stops. And as that happens, these tires start to chunk, then it's a matter of who found the best compromise. Oh, Franchitti getting sideways coming off that corner. In setups. Mike Landretti right in the hunt. Remember, he got turned around early in the race, knocked way down the order. Now back up into 8th place.
It should be about 5 laps to go next time across the line. So with just 5 to go, everybody on a string. It's almost like fuel is less of a concern than tires. You can't afford to do anything to the tires And even though it's drying, you can't you duck into the pits, you're done. All you can do is what we saw there, is just try and cool them.
Boy, we saw Dario, though, pushing very hard right in behind Scott Dixon. Michael Andretti tucked in right behind Dario, coming onto the pit straight. You can see there, Servia leading the group of snaking back towards the pit lane, trying to find that water to cool those tires down. The guys with more experience in the rain on these sorts of tires know you have to do that, because as I said earlier, in just a couple of laps, the tires will literally just break apart once the track dries out.
And while we've been focused up primarily on 1st through 8th place, back through Michael Andretti, Servia, D'Amata, and Breck are now beginning to close in on the lead. We'll be going to Sports Center as soon as we're done here at Portland. And let's go right now, though, to Jan Beekes.
We are looking over the shoulder and waiting for Mark Johnson, who's on the radio. We didn't have a chance to tell him we're going to try and get a quick word. He's speaking with Max, and I know they're very concerned about fuel. Moments ago, I asked him, and he said it's still touch and go. Once he gets on the main straightaway.
We've got 5 minutes. Christian's coming. About 4 seconds back. We've got to go if we can.
Mark, what's the situation now on fuel for Max?
We're pretty good. I think we're going to be okay to get there. We just got Christian coming. He's got a little more fuel than we do right now, so we're giving it all we can. We got to get to the end, though. We're hoping that Cart times it right on the money, and we'll be okay.
Thanks, Mark. Interesting that he mentioned Christian Fittipaldi and not just Moreno.
Well, the difference there is Christian Fittipaldi pitted 7 laps later. He's got 7 more laps of fuel in that tank. He's been picking up about 7/10 to 8/10 of a second a lap on Roberto Moreno. He is coming fast.
Well, you've heard the head for the Wilson team. What about it, Patrick Racing, Gary Gerald?
Quick word with Jim McGee. Okay on fuel, and how concerned are you about Fittipaldi?
Well, we're real concerned. It's real close, but we're good on fuel. We're just trying to save our tires, and we have, and so now we're trying to make a run at it.
Boy, he's a wily old veteran. He's been around these wars for so many years, and he's brought so many guys home, yet he's trying to get Roberto on the podium again. Remember last year, Paul, when Roberto was on the podium and he couldn't get out of the car?
Yeah, they couldn't get the steering wheel
get the steering wheel out, and finally when they got him out, they were tossing him around like a baseball.
Remember that he finished 3rd last week at Detroit, and maybe a 2nd here today, maybe even a win. Next week we go to Cleveland, where he won last year. Could be a good streak for Roberto.
You saw Fittipaldi right up against the pit wall.
Dario Franchitti just gone around. Scott Dixon. If you wonder what it cost him in tires.
Yeah, because as we saw in that last lap, even coming down the back straightaway now, the guys are on the far outside of the track, completely off the racing line, simply looking for water to try to keep these tires from chunking. Fittipaldi that time picked up another 7/10 of a second. Just over 2 seconds behind Roberto Moreno now.
Again, coming up next, Sports Center. As soon as we conclude here and interview the winner.
Well, if the math works out right, Fittipaldi may be able to catch Moreno, but I think he's going to run out of time prior to the checkered flag. The pace is picking up right now. Christian Fittipaldi in the 97-mile-an-hour range. Everyone, only 2 cars in the 96-mile-an-hour range. Pappas Moreno, everyone back in the 95s and 94s.
Good job, good job.
I believe 2 laps to go, and the interval 1st to 2nd, 1.9. Another 10th out. Pappas stretches for Moreno, but Fittipaldi is closing on Moreno. Look at them all go over and use the cool water on the far right side of the track, driver's right, to try to cool those tires down.
About the drivers going over to find the water. The teams are telling them to do so because they're monitoring. Can hear the focus, but they can tell when the tire pressures come up. Then they radio to their driver and say, find some puddles.
Oh, sure, they know by the telemetry if the pressure's up, then it's up. I'm looking at the right front.
White flag, this time by
of Max Pappas. Looked like it developed.
Rail Christian, no pressure. Nice.
It's like the blister lines.
A wear line here, yeah. Keep an eye on that. On the final lap now. White flag is out, 1 to go. The clock counting down. It is absolutely a timed race, officially notified about 9 minutes ago to all the teams, though that was no surprise. Behind Max Pappas, who has pulled out another 10th on Roberto Moreno, is Fittipaldi, Wilson, Carpentier, Franchitti, Dixon, Andretti, all very close together.
Max Wilson has finished in 4th place for a small team. This will be as good as a victory. Fittipaldi, I'm afraid, will just not have enough track or time to catch and then challenge Moreno. And Max Pappas headed for his first road course victory in the kart series, his 2nd overall. A perfect drive for Team Rahal, for the Letterman team.
And for Max Pappas, who won in Miami, now looks for his 2nd career win. And it comes in his 86th start. Checkered flag ahead. He's still going to go over and cool him off.
We are the king. We are the king, guys. Hey, baby, you're the man today. You are the man, baby.
Oh, baby, let's celebrate it.
It's good to be king.
Now Max Pappas takes the win, followed by Moreno, Fittipaldi, Wilson, Carpentier, Franchitti, Dixon, and Andretti. No one was able to change position on the last lap. ESPN Speed World coverage of the CART Portland 200 has been brought to you today by FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series. So it's unofficial, but it looks good. Congratulations to Max Pappas, his 3rd win for Team Rahal this year. Kenny Breck has 2, and now Pappas climbs on board. Don't forget, coming up next is Sports Center. Here comes Franchitti up for a little congratulations. Good friends there. Max puts on quite a show at the end of the pit straight after crossing the line and taking the checker. Jan Beekes.
And with a choked up Mark Johnson, I saw you pacing back and forth on the timing stand. Really, how much of a concern was the fuel there in the end?
It's really close, John. I'm guessing we don't have much more than a gallon in the tank right now, and we the guys here on the stand just did a great job today keeping track of the timed race. And like I said earlier, I'm just thankful that CART called it right on the button, because we would have been very close if we'd had to go 2 more. But the guys on the stand did a great job. Max did a great job. We're just happy as can be.
Congratulations.
Boy, and they should be. In fact, those two have been together a long, long time. Don't forget, next week, we're going to be in Cleveland for the Marconi Grand Prix of Cleveland, qualifying and CART today on ESPN2, the race itself on ABC. Max Pappas is still celebrating. Christian Fittipaldi has already made it over to the winner's circle. Fittipaldi has gained 6 positions in the points. He's now in 5th position. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Max Pappas comes out of here. He goes into a jubilant pose, as you can well imagine. Career win number 2 is there. The hardware is intact. The helmet and the visor now comes up. The helmet's still in place. Max, maybe we can get a quick word here. We don't have much time. He's trying to get rid of that helmet as he celebrates a victory from the pole. An impressive drive today. Didn't make a mistake. Max, tell us, how tough was it under these conditions? Were you at any time very concerned? Because everybody went off course.
This was one of the most difficult races. We won because we were the fastest and the smartest, and the Miller team have done a fantastic job. Ford was assisting me very well, and Firestone were there all the way, man.
There's going to be a party in Portland tonight, guys.
Now Max Pappas, congratulations in the points. Fittipaldi makes the big gain. In fact, 1st through 4th are unchanged. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.